Good morning. Lamore, good morning. I'm Christine Arian, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Director of Extension Programs at the College of Continuing Education at Sacramento State. I am a proud alum of Sac State myself, so I'm wondering how many other alumni we have in the room? Several, excellent. How about any of those that have children that they're either alum or paying to go through now? Yes, I heard some of that this morning. Well, welcome. At the College of Continuing Education, we provide degree completion programs for working adults who cannot join us on campus for the traditional class schedule. We have a full-service meeting and event planning unit that provides venues for government, education, and private industry partners to get together. We provide English language instruction to students in over 50 countries seeking to internationalize their education. We are known for our industry-based certificate programs like project management and the Portfolio Leadership Series for government executives, managers, and supervisors. We work directly with department and agency leaders to customize in-house training to fit your organizational needs. But more importantly, it's why we do it, more than what we do. We are an organization full of people who want to make a difference. We know that helping others reach their fullest potential is a great investment, and that's why we come to work every day. We are a sister state agency, and we are proud to be part of making California great, one person and one class at a time. This morning, I have the honor of introducing two individuals who couldn't be more dedicated and passionate about helping others to reach their risk-taking potential. Nicole Welch is a principal consultant and executive coach with Transformation Catalyst and an instructor with Sacramento State College of Continuing Education. Nicole has over 20 years of experience as a human resources professional, coach, facilitator, trainer, and organizational development consultant. She has designed and delivered training programs to over 2,000 leaders in state government and private industry, facilitated strategic and collaborative planning efforts, and coached frontline managers and executives to be effective change leaders. She has an excellent record of conducting successful training with sustainable business results. Janeen Dodson joined the EDD team in 1999 and currently serves as a business process improvement manager in the Office of the Director. She provides direct oversight of business process improvement and re-engineering project activities, including large, enterprise-wide, mission-critical projects that impact core business. Janeen provides guidance and consultation to achieve optimal performance of current business processes, improve organizational capabilities, and build high-performing process improvement teams. Janeen is an alumni of CCE's Leadership for the Government Manager program, and we are honored to have her return as cohort sponsor for upcoming LGM Cohort 13. It's my honor to welcome you today. I'm so glad you can be here with us, and I'm going to turn it over to your presenters, Janeen and Nicole, to get started. Thank you. Thank
you. Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing this morning? Look, I walked in front of it already. We said, don't walk in front of it, and I walk in front of it. So today we are here to talk about risk-taking. So before we get started with a bunch of information that we're going to give you today, I want to find out what compelled you to come to this particular topic. So I want you to find someone that you're sitting next to, and just for a minute, share, why are you here? Why is risk-taking important to you? So 1 minute, share with someone who's by. Go ahead. There you go. Move. Find somebody. All right. So thank your neighbor if you haven't. I'd like to hear from a couple of people. What brought you here? Just shout it out for me. What do you want to learn? What compelled you to come here today to listen to us for an hour and 50 minutes? Yeah?
I really want to learn how to help support folks who want to take risks and build a safe environment so that they aren't cynical and they don't disengage from that process.
Great. That's an excellent goal. And boy, we need a lot of you. We do. So great. One more? One more?
In my organization, one of my goals and objectives is to get a message out of finding ways to say yes. And as I was having a conversation with a certain individual, she said, we need to come to this class.
Excellent. Yay! Well, we actually have a slide on say yes.
Yes.
Okay? Because that's perfect. So thank you for bringing that up. All right, so here's today's objectives. Really, the first part of today, we're going to talk about how do we identify and monitor our own personal behaviors that really encourage risk-taking as well as we are risk-taking ourselves, right? Because we have to walk the talk. We have to model the way. Because if we don't, no one else is going to do it. So this first part is all about what do we do? How do we know what to say? How do we know how to behave? What are the actions that we take that will encourage and inspire others to also take risks? Then we'll be looking at specific leadership skills to make intelligent and encourage intelligent risk-taking. It's important because we're public sector. The eyes are on us all of the time, right? And so we've got to make sure that the decisions that we make, we've thought through, but not so much so that we cause paralysis and inaction. So we've got to have a nice process around intelligent risk-taking that people can go back and look, they looked at all these things before they made the decision. Great, we document it, and we're taking action. And then the third one is the thing that we all tend to bump up against, right? That's why I have a job, frankly. I love my job, and it's really looking at those cultural and structural challenges that we all have in every organization I've ever worked in. We have them. And you'll see that you'll have some common themes, because we're going to poll you today. So Christine mentioned at the beginning that we're going to ask you to bring out your phone in a couple of minutes, and we're going to do some polls to see where we're at in the room around cultural and structural barriers. Where are we when it comes to leadership practices? So please get those phones out if you haven't done so already. So those are the objectives for today. So to kick it off, every good speaker starts with a question. So our question is, how do we explain our current results? So I'm just going to throw out a couple of statistics. One is the current success rate of large IT projects. What do you think it currently is in the state? The answer's on the screen. 32%! 32% currently. Now, what is the value delivery of said IT projects? What do you think it is? 44%. Now, there's an even more scary statistic I didn't put on there, but it's around projects that are over $1 million budget, right? IT projects. Guess what their success rate is? 5% or less. No, it's not really that bad. but it's less than 50%. Okay? So the larger the project, the less successful it tends to be right now. Now here's another statistic that is on the screen, and that is around engagement level. This is through Gallup. I'm sure everyone's familiar with the polling company. They also do a tremendous amount of research around employee engagement. And this statistic is 30% of the United States population, the workforce being 30% engaged. Now, it's a lot better than worldwide, which is about 13%. The scary part is in the last 12 years, that number has not moved. We have been stagnant in our engagement. It has been 30% for 12 years. So how can we move this needle? Because engagement really equals, it sounds kind of fluffy, doesn't it? Engagement. What does engagement really mean? It means that people are excited. They're enthusiastic about their job. And the more excited and enthusiastic and passionate we are about what we do, the more productive we are. And that's why every organization should care about engagement. So engagement, success rate, what does this all mean? It means that we're not taking a lot of risks. We're not encouraging. We're not inspiring. We're not asking people to grow and develop and learn and do new things as much as we could be, as much as they want to be. Because the studies also show that employees truly want to be engaged. They want to be challenged. They want to add value. They want to contribute. They want their work to have meaning. So how do we do that? How do we enable a culture of risk-taking? So first we do that by looking at ourselves. Because there is not a change that occurs anywhere in an organization unless it occurs in here. So that's why we're starting off with this particular objective first. So it's about identifying and then monitoring our own personal behaviors and approach to risk-taking. So when we introduce this topic of how do we do this, well, there's some fantastic books out there, and I'm going to reference one that I would highly encourage. We develop a lot of curriculum out of it at Sac State, and it's the Leadership Challenge. Kuzner and Posner are the two authors of the book. They're writing the 6th edition. They have the 5th edition out right now. They have been researching for over 30 years. This is what their doctoral thesis was on back in the day of college. Their question was, can leaders be made or are they just born? And that's what they started with. So they went out on this search of answering this question. And what they started looking at is exemplary leaders. What does it take? What are the behaviors? What are the actions of exemplary leaders? And so they came up with, and if you've read the book, there are 5 practices that they have identified. The first one's model the way, just so that I won't leave you hanging, okay? First one's model the way, which I mentioned already in the beginning, right? It's about walking our talk, doing what we say we're going to do. Second, it's about inspiring a shared vision. It's about inspiring people. The third one, which is what we're going to talk about today, is challenge the process. And we're going to go through specifically what those behaviors are in a minute. The fourth one is enable others to act. So it's about giving people the tools, the training, the support, the coaching. And then the 5th one is encouraging the heart. It's interesting because I watched a video just the other day, John Cotter, right, the father of change. He did a quick 2-minute video on accelerating change. And then it said, accelerating change, engaging the heart. It's such an important practice. So I would encourage you to check that book out. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But when we look at challenge the process, when we are truly immersed in this particular practice, we look at things as opportunities. We see a problem, a challenge, and we don't go, oh, just another one of those I got to deal with. It's more of a, great, there's an opportunity to improve something. There's an opportunity to solve from, make something better, make something faster, make something more efficient, less expensive, less resources, whatever it is. Okay? We welcome the opportunity to stretch ourselves. And not just ourselves, but our staff. When we're stretching our staff, that's helping to engage them, because then they're growing and learning too. And we're building our bench strength when we do that. And the third one is that we're constantly looking for ways to innovate in general. It's not just being happy with the status quo. It is about looking for every opportunity we can to make it just a little bit better for ourselves, for our employees, for our customers, our recipients, whatever we call them, our stakeholders. I could list down a number of different things we call them in the state. Applicants, or just the public in general. So here's where we're going to introduce these 6 practices, or 6 actions, or behaviors. So I'd like everyone to take out their phone. So we're going to do a little bit of interaction here. So you'll see I have on the screen, and I have it up here too, So you'll want to put 37607 in the number field. And then in the message itself, you'll put Nicole Welch 558. When you do that, you should receive, let me see, do I have my laser? There it is. This message here, letting you know that you've joined the session. And then it's the first time you've ever participated in a poll everywhere. It will also send you this message to let you know that I don't get your numbers. They are held privately. They do not spam. So I'll give you a minute to get that. And when you are in and you've got that confirmation, do me a favor. We're just going to stand up so I can get a sense of who's in and who isn't. Excellent. I got stuff on my lap. How do we stand up? Why? I didn't know I was going to have to stand up while I was in here.
Nicole, can you also mention if there are seats here?
Yeah. And there are some people back here. There are seats up here if you want to sit down, just so you know. Perfect. This would be a good time to come up. All right. Looks like most of you are on. Go ahead. You can sit back down. You guys want to sit up here? You're welcome to. You're like, no, thank you. Okay. All right. So I'm going to flip this over to the poll. So you ready? All right. And we're at the first one, right? And let me open that up. There we go. All right, so we tested it earlier, so you'll see that there's already some answers in here. But here is the first question. And this is right out of the leadership challenge. This is one of the 6 behaviors that align to that practice of challenge and process. So you'll see it right up here. Seeks out challenging opportunities that test your own skills. So I want you to then respond. Where do you think you land? Do you almost always test your own knowledge and skills? Or usually, sometimes, and it jumps as people start entering?
Yeah. Can you come around really quick because this is still.
What?
What happened? I think it turned out.
Oh, okay. All right, so let me do this.
It looks like the labor machine.
Okay, let's do this.
There we go.
Yeah.
I wonder if we left it open.
Yeah, maybe. It's showing.
There's too much activity in the room.
Is it maxed out?
It's an engineer.
Okay. All right, let's see. So let's do this. See if I can do that. All right. So we got most, okay, the poll is full. Okay. All right, so we've got about 28%, right? Fairly often. We've got 23% very frequently. Now, what's interesting is these questions are part of what we call leadership practices inventory. It is a 360 assessment. So some of you who have been through maybe the LGM or other programs, you've gone through this. So it's really fun. This is our own reflection of how we think we do, and then it's a great opportunity to get that feedback from other people on what they actually see as well. All right. So you can see here, here's where we currently are. Let's go to the next one. There we go. The second question statement is challenges people to try out new and innovative ways of doing things. So go ahead and enter your response. Okay. Interesting. Good. So very frequently, 30%, sometimes, almost always, we're at the 13%. Right? We got usually at 13 at fairly often, 5% occasionally, and 3% seldom. Let's go to the next one. This is where we're searching outside the formal boundaries of our organization for new and innovative things. So we're looking not just what we do, but we're looking at what other states do. What is Montana doing currently? What is New Hampshire doing? What is Texas doing? Oh, never mind. Sorry. All right. Good. So we got a little bit more frequency in this particular one where we're looking outside our own organization to see what's out there and what we can do differently to continue to improve. So let's go to the next one. This is where we ask, what can we learn? And frankly, this is where I differ a little bit from the authors. It wouldn't, for me, it's not just when things don't go as expected. Well, maybe, because nothing ever goes as expected, right? But to me, when I'm working with groups, individuals, and I think a couple of people can attest to this, I'm always asking, what did we learn? What should we do again? What should we never do again? Right? What just didn't work? Right? Because that's going to continue to challenge us to look for possibilities. So let's see, here's, we got 53%, almost always, 30%, very frequently, 13%, usually. Then we got a couple, fairly, yeah. Okay. So now, let's go to the next one. We got a couple more, and okay, this one's about making sure as leaders or managers or even in work groups that we are making sure that people are clear about what we're doing, that we're making concrete plans, that we're making sure that people know when we're hitting our major milestones so that then we can encourage our heart and celebrate our accomplishments. So let's see what we got here. Good. So we got about 32%, almost always. 29% very frequently. Usually at 17%. Fairly often at 15%. Once in a while, 5%, and sometimes 2%. Excellent. So this is the last one. And this is where we're experimenting. We're taking risks even when we know there's a chance of failure. Which is almost all the time, right? With something. But we don't just go with the shoe-ins. We don't just go with what we know will work. We're testing the limits. And we're willing to take responsibility when something doesn't work as planned. We own our mistakes. And we hold ourselves and each other accountable for them. Okay. 28%, so that's about kind of the average there, is like 28%, 30% with each one of these. So I'm going to pause here. What are your thoughts around these 6 questions? Are you familiar with these? Yeah? Good. How many of you have taken an LPI in the room? Okay, good. All right. So this is one of the things we can be doing. We don't necessarily need to take Leadership Practices Inventory 360 assessment to make sure that we are identifying and then monitoring these behaviors. we can just ask ourselves the question each in the everyday. Here are the 6 behaviors. How did I do? Do some self-reflection, which I know in a world of chaos, because trust me, I sit in cubicles in state departments at least 3 to 4 days a week. So I know how chaotic they are. But there's a discipline that we have to create for ourselves around that self-reflection. Because that's where we, as leaders, continue to grow and develop. So wait, 5 minutes. I'm not talking a half an hour, I'm not talking an hour. Take a 5-minute walk, reflect. How did I do today? Where could I have done better? What were my accomplishments? And what should I feel good about? What should I go home and have a glass of wine about? Because I did really good. Okay? Or a cookie or whatever. Right. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back to the presentation. And hopefully it will connect. There we go. So there's some additional things you can do, and I don't want to sound like I'm selling the product because I really am not connected to them at all. But they also have a really great mobile app, the Leadership Challenge does. And there's a free version as well as a paid version. The paid version is, a couple of less than 5. But that's also something that you can do because you can set goals and it'll connect right to your calendar. So it's a nice way of scheduling time to do. I'm going to spend an hour this week searching outside the formal boundaries of the organization, different ways of doing things. So it's a great little tool for you to continue to monitor your progress on these particular behaviors and schedule time. So here's how I want to kind of end this section around identifying and monitoring these practices. So I want to talk about these 3 key principles. And I think they're extremely important when it comes to leaders. And when I say leaders, I want to make sure everyone knows it's not a position. Leadership is not a position. You may have positional power by the title that you hold. But leadership is within. And it's how you demonstrate it outwardly. And I worked with a lot of people within state departments that have absolutely no positional power that are amazing leaders. So I just want to make sure you know that when I speak leader, that's what I mean by leader. So here's some key principles. One is just instilling a sense of adventure. It's about having fun. Work has to be just a tad bit of fun for us to be engaged. We have to enjoy what we do. Instead of looking at it as the next problem or the next challenge, let's look at it as, well, here's what we learned, and here's where we can go from here. Look at the possibilities. I'm working with one state department right now, and it's doom and gloom, okay? It's doom and gloom. There's just so much going on. And we just have to keep focused on, yes, things are not going the way we planned. They're not. But look what we've learned, and what can we do differently next time to make it such a better experience moving forward. Right? So we want to look at it as a sense of adventure. The second key point is, as leaders, we don't have to be the innovators. Statistically, it's proven in much research. You can go look the tipping point. People tell you, true innovators, population-wise, 5 to 7% of the population. We're talking the Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs, right? Those are true innovators. We don't have to be an innovator. What we need to do as a leader is really, what do we do when things present themselves as opportunities? And a lot of times, those opportunities are going to come from your staff. Or they're going to come from the section next to you that you do a lot of collaboration with. What if we did this? What's most important is how we react and the choices that we take when those opportunities present themselves. And then lastly, when we are stretched, because because risk-taking is stretching ourselves. It is asking us to do things that we haven't done before, possibly. It causes adversity. And when that happens, there's a real opportunity for us to come face to face with who we really are and what we're capable of becoming as leaders and as individuals, as contributors. So I want to pause here because I've spent about 20 minutes or so talking about this topic. What questions do you have around identifying and monitoring our personal approach? You didn't know this was going to be interactive, did you? I have to speak. So what questions? Yeah.
Well, when you talk about monitoring our personal approach, can you give some insight regarding how important feedback is as a leader, regardless of your title?
Yes.
How feedback really can impact your direction?
I love that question. Did everyone hear that question? No. Okay, good. So I want to let you know that his question was about feedback, in essence. And how does that relate? How does that connect to monitoring our personal approach? Is that in essence? Okay, good. All right, and I just want to let you know, Janeen's going to talk about that a little bit, so I don't want to steal her thunder. But I will say that that is absolutely one of the many things you could be doing. Feedback is critical. It's critical. And as leaders, one of the best things we can do for ourselves is get a coach. Literally, get a coach. And get a mentor, because they're different. Okay? I have both. Okay? And guess what? Last night, I was on the phone with my mentor coach because she watched the last presentation I did, and she was giving me feedback last night for an hour. Here, don't do this, do that, I saw that, don't do this, blah, 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 right? Hour, just give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. Right? That's how we get better. We don't get better in isolation. So, excellent question. Ask for feedback. I lead team meetings, and at the end of every team meeting, I go, okay, what worked, what didn't? And give it to me. Right? What could I have done better? What could we have done better? What worked well? What should we celebrate? What should we repeat? What should we look to improve? Excellent. And then, like I said, I'll let her cover some additional things. Great question. Yes?
When it comes to risk, my thinking is I will try to find accomplishing something. How can I do this without taking a risk? That would be my first approach.
Excellent. That's a great question. Well, let me see if I can answer that. Okay. So the question was, I'd like to do something better. I'd like to improve something. But how can I do that without taking a risk?
First thing we think about it, doing
Right.
this.
It's like, oh, but wait a minute. This could happen. This could happen. This could happen. So I think that that ties very nicely into what we're going to talk about next, which is the intelligent risk-taking. Okay? But I will say, and I kind of piggyback back on the feedback, it's about being vulnerable. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, it's about being vulnerable and having the confidence that no matter what happens, you're going to recover and you're going to be better for it. And sometimes I've made some big mistakes in my career. Big. And I learned from them, and I'm a better person because of it today. Go jump off an airplane. It'll get you over all your fears. There you go.
So others are, so you give an idea you want to push, but there's certain kind that's better than others, and how can you take advantage of those opportunities? Because I've heard that, sometimes it's better to push an idea when there's a crisis, because maybe they're more receptive to different ideas than say, well, we've been doing the same thing, it's been fine, why do we need to do that?
So I'm going to repeat this question. This question was, timing-wise, when's the best time to kind of take that risk or suggest that something you've been kind of waiting to, that you think might work, but it's a timing issue. And I would say that from my experience, crises, people are much more open to ideas. But I wouldn't just use it during crisis time. Because then there are a ton of ideas being thrown on there, and people are just going to jump at whatever. I would do it a couple of different ways. One, I call what you call creating a sense of urgency. So I would use John Potter's 8 steps around change management and really looking at that. How do you create that sense of urgency for whatever you see as the opportunity? And then go and talk to people about creating that buy-in. What do you think about this? What do you think will work? What do you think I need to do? What do you think we need to plan for? I would start just introducing the concept to people, getting their ideas about it. Because they're going to tell you maybe some things that you haven't even thought about that'll help it be even a better solution when you're able to then jump in and show it off. Does that answer your question? Excellent. Okay, great. Any other? I can take one more question. Whoop, whoop, back here.
How do you deal with organization culture that does not like to take risks?
So, and I didn't hear the first word. How do you handle
organization culture?
Got it.
Or address it when they don't like to take risks?
Excellent. Well, that's going to be the third whole section of ours because there's a lot to that. And you're right, there are a lot of cultures out there that are very risk adverse. I work with several. And so there are many, many things that we can do. But I will say, just to answer this and close out this section, is that it starts with us. And creating those small wins. So it's about our leadership first that really makes the difference. Because if we start modeling the way, then people will go, what are they doing over there in that small little unit? They're actually making some things happen. I want to know about that. It's going to create a sense of curiosity. And it'll create some momentum. And then we'll talk about some additional interventions in a minute. Does that answer your question? Excellent, great. So at this point, I'm going to wrap this up. And I'm going to turn it over to my fantastic partner. I have to say, when Christine asked me to do this, and she goes, what do you think we asked for Janeen to? I went, yay! I will be available